All right. Well, I think we're going live here. We'll wait as soon as it starts hitting. If you can see us, if you can hear us, just type "I'm here" something in the comment box, and once we see the first person, we'll go. We'll
Word
go.
go. Marla just gave me a thumbs up from another room.
Awesome.
I can see
Exactly
her.
what we need. Well, hey, my name's Andy Peters. I'm the operating partner here at the Georgia Legacy Group. This is an awesome segment that I am privileged to do 3 times a week, called GLG Leaders. And the purpose of these conversations really is to get to know leaders within and without our company on a different level. The purpose of these is to be inspirational. We want to also make sure that we just got off a call. We're talking about being the light, and I feel like these calls are a lot of light. So once again, I am just excited this week to profile our team leaders. Yesterday we had Loredana Gett from Keller Williams North Atlanta, and today we have the one and only Mike Moulder from Keller Williams Chattahoochee North. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you for doing this. I had the privilege in the market center. An agent actually interviewed me one time in the last year, and that's never happened. And I didn't tell my whole story. And today I'm going to open up. I think it's important that people understand that. Amber was talking about she's going to do the '90s party. Well, I'm going to do the '80s party. And when you said, this is an hour, I'm like, man, we got 2 days of stuff to tell people kind of who Mike Moulder is and what his world looks like. And so I made some notes, and so I hopefully can keep up with what I really want to say today to put out there.
Yeah, you've interviewed a lot of people through the years. I think it's kind of fun to interview you. We're going to get some nuggets out of you today, I know. So when I think of you, I think of, and I've heard people describe you as this, but I feel this. People describe you as having the biggest heart. What does that mean to you? And why do you think people say that?
Well, here was the thing for me, and I'll probably get emotional about it. I even made notes, but when you just said that, it hit me in a totally different way of what I've written down. It started with my mom, and my mom, I was a single mom raising me, and I remember her working 3 jobs, and we lived in apartments, which was awesome at that time. And but my mom also stayed at the homeless shelter to make sure people, just had somebody around them that loved them and cared for them. So my mom was always a giver. I look back at my life now and the people that I've lost in my life and the things that I've had in my life. And my best friend in 9th grade, I went to Walton High School later on, and I lost my, I'd call him my best friend at the time. My jersey actually sits in his coffin. That was a tough time. And then I lost my best friend years later to cancer that I held him in my arms. My sister-in-law lost her. She worked at Coke, fell downstairs and lost her life, and had to tell. I was the one that had to share my nephews, and I picked them up at school. And then my daughter, and I want to talk about her throughout this 1 hour. It made me realize that life is short and life is precious, and we have a choice every day, and it's to make a difference in someone else's life. That is my mission. I want to talk about our nonprofit. But when people say I come from a heart, it's because I care. It's simply the team leader role has given me that platform to show people I really care, and I do. It's not about me, and I live by the things of we learn and we earn and we return, and literally everything Amber just said is literally what we're going to talk about right now, because I have seen my business. I went through the crash of 2008 and on, and I watched our business struggle then. But we always came from contribution, and I've seen it just flourish over the years.
Mm-hmm.
That's so. When people ask a servant heart, it's easy for me because my mom. If you get to know my mom, you'll know me. She's my hero. She's a rock star real estate agent in Destin, Florida, and I'm just telling you, if you get to know her, she's still, you'll see her on a parade throwing out beads, or in a helicopter dropping out little balls or logos on it. She understands people, and she still now is part of Kiwanis, and She does a children advocacy. I can never say that word right. And she's just a leader in her community and cares about others. So I think it came from her. It instilled in me.
Yeah, she just did a deal for one of my dear friends, high school actually, friends who lost both of her parents in the last 5 years. And I sent her the deal down there in Destin, and she got it done. But the best part about it was the review that my friend said about her, right? She did a great job, and we appreciate her. So
yeah, she goes the extra mile. She understands people, and she's not afraid to paint, clean toilets, take the trash out. She'll do whatever it takes to get something sold. She really will. And she's about them, not about the property, but about she understands, she finds out about the person, and she knew their story, and she wanted to make sure of it, that she got the job done.
Yeah. So you told us a little bit about your upbringing, kind of what that looked like. What did the road look like getting you to real estate? How did you find that?
You know, I'm gonna expose myself today, and I'm not afraid to do that. You've asked me this 10 years ago. I was afraid because I thought I'd been judged, and now I truly just don't care because people know me. The road to real estate, I'm gonna go back to. I am a Crawford Long baby. I am right here, born and bred, right here in Atlanta, Georgia, and proud to say that because I love my hometown of Atlanta. But I was in elementary school. I went to Henderson Middle Elementary School. In 4th and 5th grade, I had to leave. I was so far behind. I struggled. I was in an LD program. I struggled all my life in school. So I went to a school at Mount Perrin called Skank School. And my mom had gotten remarried, and my stepdad put me in there, and it was fantastic. And so I went there for a couple of years, and I went back to Henderson Mill my 6th and 7th year. Well, during that time, there was no such thing as middle schools in DeKalb County. So my mom relocated us. We relocated to East Cobb. And so I went to middle school in East Cobb, and then high school, Walton High School, and graduated from Pope. But I struggled all through school. It was just summer school every year. That was just on my radar. I went to school year round. I couldn't take any time off. Dick said it the other day the best. He said, you read for comprehension or you read for ideas. And for me, it's ideas, but I struggled with that because I struggled to read, and I've always struggled because I always thought I got to comprehend everything I'm doing, and I'd reread it. And now I realize that how Marla even laughs because she says, Mike, you can tell me everything in Facebook within seconds. And I said, because I read it, I skim it for ideas, and then I move on. And she goes, but you know everything about it. I said, I'm just reading it really quick. And so I've learned to do that. So college wasn't in my game. I went to DeKalb College for a couple of years, but I'm going to tell you a little story. I worked at Rio Bravo, and I was asking myself, because Gene Rivers said this to us one time when he said, I look for talent. I look for high school talent. And what did you do in high school? Some of you might know that I was an invitee to the Junior Olympics. I'm a roller skater. I wouldn't talk about that years ago. I'm proud of that now because my dad ran a roller skating rink, and I had an awesome dad. I lost him. It'll be 20 years this year. And that's another thing that my dad was an awesome person. But he ran a roller skating rink. So I did that. So I played to win. I was region champion, state champion roller skaters. I have big old trophies for that. And I played baseball. I loved baseball. And then I went on to play softball. Mercedes-Benz paid for our team for 10 years to play softball. Then I ended up coaching my kid. And some of you got to see Brian Jordan, but me and coached my son, Michael, and I actually coached Mallory through the years. And so I always wanted to play. I learned to play to win at a high level, I feel like. So Rio Bravo, I think about those days is, I was just a bar back. So I was the bus boy. Let's call it, that was a glorified name for a bus boy. I could have been a server, but here was the deal, Andy. When I think about my life and I think back about money, I made more money than anybody in that place besides probably the general manager. And here's what I did. So they tipped me out every night, and I made a regular paycheck, not like they did. They got $2 an hour, which I got regular busboy. Then they would tip me out. And then I would roll silverware for 5 servers every night, and they would pay me $20 a piece. So I would walk at 18, 19 years old with over $200 a night cash. I look back at my life now and I go, that was the start of the hustle. Mm-hmm. So I moved in 2.5 years from that. I went to the newspaper industry. I met a friend, and Rick told a story the other day, and we worked 6 to 9. I'm like, man, sign me up. From show up at 5 o'clock. It was 8 guys in a car that just had a lot of fun. And I ran that all the way. In 95, I got married to my beautiful bride, Marla. We celebrate 25 years. We are supposed to be in Hawaii, but that has been put on hold in June. But we're actually having a wonderful anniversary party right here, being quarantined, and it's been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, I moved into the newspaper industry because I wanted to kind of change. And I figured out numbers then. I knew that if I hit 10 doors, and remind you, if you can knock doors and sell newspaper, and I did that for 13 years, you can do whatever you want. Real estate is actually easy to me. So I knocked doors, and in 95, back to how my numbers worked, I knew that I can get a sale for every 10. So my goal every night was to hit 50 doors. Get 5 sales a night, and anything above that was gravy, and you would win. It was a lot of competition. A lot of these guys that came out of the newspaper industry are doing very well because we were competing at a high level. In 95, when I got married, I didn't want to keep knocking doors, so I moved downtown, and I worked in more in the marketing department, which is where my love for music, and went to all these shows because the AJC had tickets, and they were all flowed through me, front row and fifth row, from meeting Van Halen to Marla dancing on stage with Rod Stewart. We had a good time. When I left that department, I knew that I was leaving that opportunity. And then I ended up in the newspaper industry. I ended up running a whole territory. I had 100 kids, I say college students, who sold newspapers. I was telemarketing and promotions. But what I realized, I'm not sure it was a gift, but when they put me out, I was out in the territory in Winder, Georgia, which was great. But I realized I was becoming stagnant, that I wasn't growing. I was collecting a paycheck, but I feel like I was stealing because they were paying me. I would go to work. I would sit there and like, what am I doing this for? I'm not growing at all. So my mom got into real estate in 97. She left Atlanta, Georgia from having a corporate job. Like I said, she didn't have a college background as well. And so her corporate job paid her XYZ, but my mom worked her way up. She was just an unbelievable hard worker. So she left in 97. And 98 hits. 98, Mallory is born. My daughter, my beautiful 22-year-old daughter, another one of my heroes, is born. 8 months after Mallory is born, she's diagnosed with a brain tumor. So that's where the emotion started rolling out of me. So I apologize on this end. And so my mom's in Florida. My dad is diagnosed with cancer. My stepmom is diagnosed with cancer. And here's my daughter, who was could not be around my dad for RSV. She was susceptible to that, in and out of ICU. And that's a long story. It could take days to tell you our story, but we lived. Marla never left Scottish Rite. So I'm a Choa guy. So if you want to hear my story, Choa, she lived there for 3 months, never came home, never. Her one thing was, she said, I don't ever want Mallory to wake up and not see somebody she knows, because we would see kids in the hospital that didn't have family at all. They basically left. It was terrible. So we lived there, lots of complications. Not only did Mallory had the brain tumor, had it removed, 8-hour surgery. I'm going to talk about 8 because I keep saying this number to you, and I'm hitting me now that this is the number that is my family number. And we live off that number, I thought, because of Cal Ripken 21-31 and the Ironman. And as I said, she was diagnosed after 8 months being born and 8-hour surgery. Now I know why 8 is in our family. And there it is. So apologize. So she also has a VP shunt that released fluid off her brain. So they told us, the worst. That she'd never walk. She'd never talk. She was paralyzed on her left side. So the story of Mike Moulder actually lives through my daughter. When the word "I can't" is said, good luck telling my family that, because we're going to give it everything we got. So, there changes my trajectory and my story.
Yeah, those were dark days.
Yeah, because I'm losing my dad to cancer. I've already lost my stepmom to cancer. And so it was awful. It was the worst time of my life.
Did you ever want to quit?
No, God, no. It's not an option. It's not an option in my life. And I'll tell you, this is where my life changed. I came in, I'm successful. I'm driving this 300Z thinking I'm some fancy little guy. I got this beautiful bride. I have a wonderful job. I'm meeting all these great musicians. It was the coolest thing ever. And the word, Marla calls me because I had dropped him off at the hospital because I knew something was wrong. And the Lord had told me I was at 285. I'll never forget it. 285 and 85. I was driving a Ford Taurus. You know where those moments are in your life. And he said, you need to get her to the hospital. The doctors aren't right. There's something wrong with her. There's something up, Mallory. And I did. And lo and behold, when we took her in, I went back to work to pick up some things. Marla called me and said, come back. Mallory has pressure on her brain. And here's what it is. And sure enough, Monday morning, she had her 8-hour surgery and family, probably 200 family members. And Joe was so awesome. The Ronald McDonald House wasn't an option. They found beds in places in the hospital, which you would never have this opportunity today. They put my family members everywhere. And I remember coming back and screaming at the Lord. And I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, and I was so mad and I was crying. And Marla goes, you need to get on your hands and knees now and pray. And I said, okay. She was the strongest person in the world. I'm thinking, a mom is going through this, and I'm a sissy over here crying. And she said, get on your knees and pray. And I did. And it changed my life. That moment changed my life. And at that moment, I wouldn't cry in front of Mallory. I wouldn't do anything. We just knew she was going to be okay. And the Lord had given me signs during the time. And what I'll tell you, there would be dreams I would have, and I would tell her, here's my dream, and we got to execute on this. And it was spot on every time. I want to tell you all now, I was at the AJC, sure, because of insurance. We hit a $2 million mark, and I knew that it was time for me to, not only was I stagnant, but it was time for me to move on. So I made
$2 million in expenses, $2 million in medical expenses.
Yeah. We had a social worker come to us and say, listen, y'all, I know you do well, but here's the deal. It'll bankrupt you. If you don't take on these things, because you're not going to qualify for certain things. And I told Marla, and we told ourselves that we will never, ever rely on the government to pay for Mallory's health care, that we're going to hustle to that we choose where she goes to doctors. Because there were several things that came up during that time, and I know everybody's not as fortunate as we were at that time to make decisions. So I made the decision, and my mom and them were in real estate, and I sat down, and I remember calling Rick Kale, and he goes, Moulder, no. And not only did I was a big part of his business, but he's like, Mike, you sure? And I said, yeah, I'm going to do this. So fast forward to 2004, my mom's in business. They've done very well. The market in real estate has been awesome to them. They've done well. I lost my dad during that time, as you know, and I lost my stepmom. So I jumped in the business in 2004. And it wasn't a choice. When people ask, how did you do these crazy numbers? I'm all in to win. I'm all in to win. And I didn't have it. So when we have Bold and we have mentor programs or PC program, I didn't have any of that. I had a desire to win. So my first 12 months, I did 42 deals and 8.9 million. I was the #1 listing agent for 3 years in a row. I bought me this fancy Rolex because I thought I deserved it, and I was, doing well and paying all my bills, and we were living good. And I love real estate because I love people. I think Laura Donna said that yesterday. I don't misquote her, but she said people are cash or something to that. What was
currency? People are currency.
Currency. Man, I get that at a high level. I thought about that. And my tombstone's going to say, Gary Keller says his will say realtor. Mine will say never met a stranger. I think even Leslie said that one time. Me and Marla have a game when we go to a show or something. We have a game who sees somebody that they know every time. And my goal is to always, impact somebody. So never met a stranger. And I want my kids to feel the same way. So I jumped in the business, had a lot of success right out of the gate. And I got a call from Rick Hale the first year in the business, and I'd done well. And he said, I don't need your money. Well, I do need your money, but I need your influence because I know you know a lot of people. You've moved all over the world inside of Atlanta, and you know a lot of people. And this was before social media. And I said, okay. He says, come down, write me a check. and then let's get going. So I'd brought in, had an opportunity to give people some investment. We opened the Midtown Market Center in '06. So I was down, I moved my license down there from Chattanooga. Chattanooga is all I've known. This was like, they were like a family to me. And when I first came in there, I was nobody. I just an agent coming in, and I doing my thing. And then I started having a lot of success, started winning a lot of awards. Like, who is this guy? And then they started kind of hearing my story. So Rick could give me that wonderful opportunity in '06. '08, I got a call from the MCA of Chat North. Said, I'd love, Mike, for you to interview to be a team leader. And I thought about it, and I've been through the process of hiring team leaders at the Midtown office. I ran over 100 kids knocking doors. And so I knew, I guess I could say I knew how to lead. And I led them every night. And that's sleet, cold, rain, guns, dogs, people. So I knew that I probably could do this thing. And the more I looked into becoming a team leader, I'm like, I love this. It's kind of like it gave me, as a pastor, I didn't put on that same playing field, but I thought, man, I get to impact people every day. And that's my goal.
You even call your team meetings church.
Yeah. Well, it's my opportunity. Like this thing, which I now get on a greater scale. I love bricks and mortar. I think that every office should have a bricks and mortar. And then now we get to grow with the virtual opportunity as well. But that gave me a platform. And Tuesday mornings, and my agents will tell you this, that's my go time. That's my time with them. And it's my time and opportunity to make a difference in their life. And so that probably Tuesday morning, missing that the first couple of weeks and having to pivot and seeing how many still getting on those calls, it means the world to me. And so in '08, I decided to pivot, and I told Rick, I'm gonna do this thing. And that's another. Rick said, Moulder, you're 33 years old. You want to be a team leader, and you're rocking real estate. I go, yeah, I'm gonna do this. So, because I said I got a plan. I'm gonna back up just a second. So when I got into real estate without credit, I got to give more credit to the success because it wasn't about me. Marla had started a company because Mallory had physical therapy, occupational therapy, and goodness gracious, physical therapy. She had so many different therapists coming in and out of our lives every day. Went to different schools, and Marla became a home nurse as well.
Right? She's a professional caregiver.
Oh, she knows. Like my dad got sick with cancer. She was the only one he wanted there, not his kids. He said, I want Marla because she'll listen to the doctors and she'll be able to tell me what they're saying because my brain is so. And she was like, for our family, she was the caretaker. She did a lot of stuff for my dad, and during that time. But she knows. Yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't what we wanted to know because Mallory had a feeding tube for 2 years. So not only did I say she wouldn't walk, talk, or eat on her own, she had a feeding tube for 2 years. So we would drive around with a feeding bag coming from our minivan that we had to get out of necessity to feed Mallory. So when I got into real estate, I needed help. I did one deal. I tell this to anybody, you got to find leverage in your life. If you're doing all the inputting of stuff, you're wasting your time. Amber said it this morning as well. So I did one. It took me 2. I told you, I'm not the smartest guy. I graduated high school. I got out of there. God love my mom. It was a struggle every year. She paid for summer school. So we paid a lot of money for Mike to go to school, including private schooling. And I realized that wasn't my one thing, that people were my skills. So I hired Linda Best, who is the MCA, and we'll talk about that, to help me. She was agent services. I said, listen, I am not good. And I spent 2 hours on that computer and I have a headache. She said, Mike, just pay me and I'll do all this for you. I said, okay, great. Well, success was happening. So I went home and said, Marla, I said, you know what? I think you need to stop what you're doing. I know y'all run this physical therapy operation. Y'all started. I need you full time. I said, let's make this leap of faith. I think I can replace your salary and I can grow. And so she did. And so fast forward to when I became a team leader, I said, Marla, you know the team, you know what we're doing. Why don't you pivot and be in sales? Now, I've never dissed Marla, but she's probably an SC. But I'm going to say she took over the team, and she's better than I am. So when I came into, I could focus on being a team leader.
Now you have 2 streams of income, right? Solid streams of income.
Solid, but here was the other thing. I had 3. I understood when I came into real estate, into Keller Williams system, that profit share. Now, hear me when I say this, Andy. I recruited more people into my downline as an agent as I do as a team leader.
Wow.
Because I want to give back. And Mickey will tell you that I want her to have the profit share. I want Linda Best to have profit share. I want the people around me the gift of profit share. As an agent, I had more people in my front line, and I would meet with people, different agents, for other people. Yeah. So it kind of told me then I can do this.
Yeah, that's awesome. So overcoming adversity, I think we've kind of addressed that one. You found a way, you kept finding a way. And Chat North, when you took it over, 2008, that was the year I got into real estate. So you and I have some solidarity in that. Seemed like a good time. And what happened? Take us through the dark days of that. Specifically, I want to hear about the conversation you had with Bob Kalinsky. If you remember, about just get people in the office. Like, I'd love for you to tell that story.
Yeah, and remind me on those steps too. So I took this wonderful opportunity to be a team leader in 08, and we were not Keller Who, but we weren't what we were, and we weren't as the same as we are today. How about that?
Yeah.
And this wonderful, I'm going to mention Bob as well. So I got the opportunity, and this market starts to change. I'm going to say this, Andy. I only lost, and I say that's not the right word. We only lost, and and they're still with us, or they've retired, the same agents that were there. And I hold my hat on that. And I know that one person that left us years later, and why, that are still in business with us in some fashion, which is cool. But yeah, it takes, team leaders, the role was like 18 months. It was the rolling joke. And I'm like, 18 months? I'm just figuring this thing out. Like, I don't know anything about this role. All I can do is just give back and give my heart and show people what I've done, because there was no PC program. There was no mentoring. It was just selling real estate. And we did have the MRA. We had some guides, right? And Shift wasn't out yet. But yeah, I hate to even say this because some of them are still with me, and they'll probably agree, a therapist, golly, just marriage, bankruptcy, the whole 9 yards was hitting us, and it was hard.
Yeah.
I think it made me a better leader. I think it made me better. See, Andy, that Rolex that I had, that I talked about, the fancy Rolex, is my story. And I'm writing a book called The Watch, and I'll tell you about that as well. And that's not even in my notes. That fancy Rolex in 2010, I had to go and sell because I was losing everything. Because you got to think, I'm a team leader. There is no profit, right? There is no profit. Oh, and by the way, there is no profit share. And when you take a 0 off the back end of your number, it changes things.
No doubt.
Dramatically. So I sold the watch. And at that point, I learned to not be attached to things. They're just things. And when I learned about, with my daughter and my dad and some other things, that as long as you've got health, and now we're learning this in COVID-19, what a timing of this call. As long as you got health, nothing else matters. And the will to win.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you can get anything you want as long as you want it bad enough and you don't quit.
Yeah, I look at like my life now, and every time I played, whether it be an award or whether it be, this, because I say always put a challenge out to me, because I'm going to exceed that challenge, because I want to win. I think that's what motivates me, and to see the wins in others. And if I can help enough people get what they want, right, we know this, then I'll get what I want. And I'm super blessed in my thinking. And I know I talked about Bold, and I say it all the time. Bold literally changed my life. And my thinking is different. It's completely different. So even in this pandemic, as it goes on, I'm not worried one bit. and I live a good life. I'm just not. It will happen, some way, some fashion, and I know it will.
Well, you're doing the right things, right? The way you get through any tough time, you focus on the plan, you increase communication, and you share the wins, right?
Right.
That's how you get through it, and that's how we're all getting through it. I loved what the question that Amber had about, what's your legacy on the other end of this. This was actually a question I was going to ask towards the end here, but I'm just curious, what is your legacy? Because legacy is tied a lot to why. But when this is all said and done, you may never retire. I've never seen a team leader that is 12 years in the same place. Like, that is almost unheard of. When this is all said and done, though, what do you want that legacy to be?
Well, the legacy for me is that he never gave up. He never gave up on us, not about himself, that he poured into us and gave every ounce of energy. I struggle with looking at the numbers on our calls now, because I'm like, man, if you'll just get on here and you'll just listen, and if you can implement one thing, like team meetings, we still get 70, 80, 90 people in team meetings. I'm like, listen, it might be an hour. I'm going to motivate, I can't motivate anybody, but I can inspire you to go do great things. And I still about growth of myself. So I pay for my own growth and leave the state a lot. And that across the country. And I asked that person, a kid had asked him, what is your, I want to be like you. And he goes, you don't have a book yet. You've got to earn the right. And what I figured out in the last 30 years is I'm earning that I can, from story to story, from decade to decade, that everything I've touched. And all it was my mom instilled in me, because I've said, I talk about myself, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I surround myself with the brightest people in the world. I'm a wonderful hire. I take that, that you've heard that about me because you challenge me on things. And I look at my staff, and I take, pride is not the right word I like to use, but they mean the world to me, and they know it. Mm-hmm. The guys that ran my crews back at the AJC, I'm still friends with them. They know that I'm going to do everything I can to help support them and support their families. My staff is everything to me. They are the reason I'm up at night, because I can pour into them, and then they're pouring into the agents as well. And so I surround myself with just great people. You come into my life. You and I, what makes me go. That there's a trigger, that I'm the happy-go-lucky guy, and then I have this switch that just gets uncontrollable. And a lot of the switch has been to me now is like, guys, get on these calls. There's so much. And if it's not fun, I'll bring Brian Jordan from the Braves and make it fun. Amber, this morning, I have more notes that I cannot wait, even when me and you're done, to implement, because they're so good. And she's so, and not only that, as the team leader, you said that yourself, you said, still a team leader. I'm like, dude, Tom Brady didn't stop being a quarterback and go be a fullback. So while we ask this question, I have the greatest job. You're an OP. Yeah. I'm a team leader, dude. I get to do the best job of all Keller Williams.
That's true.
And I get calls all the time for opportunities. You know that. I've told you that, because I get to lead people and watch them grow. And that is the greatest gift to anyone. My legacy, I've written my eulogy already. And I talk about that because if I left this world today, after I saw my sister-in-law leave suddenly, I want my kids to not cry. I want them to say, my dad made a difference in other people's lives. And that's my legacy at that office, or in Keller Williams, or in the real estate world. I was given the great honor of Realtor of the Year Management last year. I was given the honor of being a Blackbelt team leader. I now serve on several boards of NAMAR and on their scholarship program, and I serve on the Georgia Association of Realtors Board of Directors. Those opportunities are mine, became mine because of the people in my life and being a team leader. They didn't just happen because I sell real estate.
I want to talk about that team leader thing, because Keller Williams, Gary's always said the team leader is the coolest role in the company. And then there was this, I think there was this departure from that, right? Like, there was, we kind of wandered through the wilderness, and we had quite a bit of success within the company. And I think, I think most team leaders would agree that we're bringing sexy back to the team leader position now. Talk to me about how you've seen that position change through the years, and give us your honest opinion on where it is right now.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I'm going to give myself some credit because I heard a lot of credits being given out yesterday, and I'm going to give myself credit for Aubrey Bailey. Aubrey called me and we spent an hour. I said, you're going to be given the gift of the most incredible gift ever. And there are going to be days you beat your head against the steering wheel, I promise you. And there are going to be days you're leaving work going, they actually paid me to do what I just did. I wanted to get in a room. I've been wanting this room for a long time, and that was with Gary Keller. And I don't want to be the smartest room. You talk about that. I mean, I'm probably I use the word dumb because people don't like that word, but no, I know I'm not the smartest person in that room, but I want to grow every day. And I've been able to get into that room. And so when I had that conversation with Aubrey and to see him grow, and I said, dude, you got to take this job. It is perfect for you. You run a great team. I want you to figure out how your team is going to run and then the role. And then he went and he's done his own thing. But people ask me, how have you become the black belt and you changed? I said it because I was competing with this guy. Like I didn't have a choice. Like, you know, he was making me look stupid. But he pushed me and we pushed each other throughout the years. The role of team leader is people would just do it for a job. Andy, I don't do this for a job. You and I have had conversations about some economic times right now. I do this because I truly love it. I know for a fact, and then you know this, I made way more money selling real estate, way more money, double it.
Same here.
Triple it. I do it because I love people. And I want to help them get what they want. And I said at the beginning, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. And I live an awesome life. I live an awesome life. You know, watching Veda do her vision boards with people, we're teaching our kids. My one thing in legacy is that my children, if I left this earth today, smile and laugh and say, my dad made a difference in lives. And Mike even says, Dad, I don't want to go back to college. He goes, you're actually building a platform for me with all these people. You know, it kind of drives us crazy because we'll go to dinner or somewhere and they'll leave and goes, where's Dad? And my mom laughs. She goes, you're your grandfather because you always want to talk to a stranger. And I do. I just want to find out about people. I just want to find out what's their story because everybody's got one. And you know my story with Mallory. I would, you know, if you put all the cards and everybody's playing a game and we all put them inside of a table. And when you have a sick child, nothing matters. I mean, my two kids, they're my life. They're everything to me. And my goal is to create an incredible life for them. I mean, me and Mike have a story now. Do you go back to college? You know, he's at Kennesaw, Mallory's at Georgia. Oh, hey, let me go back to that. You know, I told y'all stories that Mallory, they said never walk or talk. You know, she's a thriving 22-year-old that's going to be on Facebook Live. I think she's probably on now. It's crazy what she's doing. Yeah, she told the world. She didn't tell her parents, so now I'm always scared what she's going to say. But she's been interviewed by Cycle World because we used to do a motorcycle ride for her. She's been interviewed on Fox 5, the Gwinnett Daily, and she always said what she wanted. She put it to the universe. She was a varsity cheerleader. They didn't give her an opportunity until she was a senior. She said, I want to go to the University of Georgia. There was no such program. Boom, she graduates with the program. Here she is at the University of Georgia. She lives on her own, scares us to death. She catches a city bus, then jumps on the college bus to get to her classes. That's not what Mallory was told she would be doing. So I can't, from the guy with the LD, learning disability, I can't ever, when you say something to me, I just going to say, okay, how far do you want me to go? Because that's not our vocabulary. Because I have a little girl that set the world on, that's changed the world, and she's changed more lives than I have. And so I just want to I want to be more like her. And if the world was more like a special needs kid, dude, this world would be, it's unfortunate pandemics, 9/11, a loss of a loved one have to change people's thoughts. Because if we live the world that we live in today of caring people, this world would be a much better place.
Yeah.
But a kid with special needs doesn't see mean. They don't see someone not treating you right. All they see is love. That's all Mallory sees is love. So I lived through her.
That's cool. Well, one of your sayings that I've borrowed from you is when you set yourself on fire,
people will come from miles away to watch you burn.
So you're on fire, man. You've done amazing things. You've got a great family. What's next for you?
if you ask me that question one more time, I'm going to tell you this. If every team leader would understand this role, get in Gary's room, be in
Yeah.
the top 10, beat Aubrey Bailey, double black belt. Listen, Tom Brady wants to win Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl. When they didn't re-sign him, he got to go wherever he wanted and make any money. And I've got opportunities that call me and ask me, Mike, that's not what I want. I love my people and I love being a team leader. And it took me, I went to MAPS. They've given me, I've gone through the phases and yeah, you get this and this. And then I talked to John Prescott about being a MAPS coach and yeah. And I'm like, that's for later in life if I want to do that. I want to create a life for my kids. And I'm hoping they do take on the legacy of real estate. I do. I want my kids in this world. I think it's a fantastic opportunity for them to live an incredible life and to be able to give back. My one thing right now is to find out my friends that are not doing well, that were, in the food business. How can me and Marla serve them? And that's what Amber kept talking about. So as a team leader, what next? Dude, I got to get better. I'm still working on this game. I've got Laura Donna now. I got someone who's come from another country seeing the gift. And she's looking at this and what do I do? And I'm like, Mike Moulder, you got to get better. So my one thing is, man, it's just to elevate. LB is now in the Hall of Fame. She has, and you say, what's next for her? Well, why don't we become the #1 market center in the country? This little old Chat North that everybody goes, when I started there was 79 agents, 79 to over 300 and something now. And we're going to continue to grow.
The other thing too that you should know, we've talked about this before, but apparently Chat North's territory is the smallest territory in the whole Southeast region.
Dude, look, they'll come from, I got people that live in Alabama that come to our market center. And and here's the thing, Andy, which you don't even know. Now with Zoom and technology, and it's been there and I've never used it, dude, I'm going to take market share from across Georgia.
You should.
I'm going to. When you create an environment, I struggle with people that are in other offices. They come to our office that are, I just want to create an environment where people want to come and sell real estate and make a difference in their lives. I love when you can say, I'm a school teacher and you're making, my goal was to make more money in 1 month. And that's when I knew I arrived than I made as a salary at the AJC. And I knew I could do that. And I did it. And I was like, wow, this is cool. And
love that.
So, I want to hit on a few things, a few points. I know you have questions, and it's very important that I talk to my mom. Sorry about that.
We've just been kind of hitting them as we've been going, so this has been great.
Well, I think it's important that I hit on a big something that's near and dear to my heart, because I already told you, my legacy, and that's my tombstone's going to say, never met a stranger. I want to make sure my kids are watching. They're watching us now. That's what I love about your kids. They're watching everything you're doing right now. And we also need to stop and reset. This is the greatest gift ever given to me. My son at 16, he's been gone. He's a very popular kid. Mallory was up at college. I've got him home. And after a couple of fights, they get it now that they're not going anywhere. So we do dinner nights. My gift a couple of years ago, and this, I live on the lake. It was a bold. Ladies and gentlemen, in bold, I put I want to live on the lake. How did it happen? I was broke down in the middle of the lake on a jet ski, and I called this lady, and she said, hold on, Mike. I'm talking to my neighbor about selling their house. Where do you live? Well, I bought that house. And then I bought the one next to it. Oh, and then, by the way, I sold those 2 investment properties and made a lot of money.
Yeah.
So bold, if people don't understand it, it has changed my life. And so me and Mara live in this beautiful home. I'm so blessed. I'm able to, this home was for my families. And so my whole family, steps, halves, not family, I bring to my house. We've had upwards to 150 people in my house from my families. We host everybody for Thanksgiving because we're blessed and we want to give back. They come from Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia. All my families come in to be here, to be together because, we're losing family members. They get older. And I want everybody to have that. And so these little things of this social thing, it made me ideas that I'm about to put in place of bringing all the families together. but I would not. I have 10 more minutes. I'm looking on this, and I have to say that I'm super blessed to have a partner in crime that's really been with me for 25 years through the good, the bad, and the ugly, and that's Marla. When you have a child that you give birth to, that you find out and then you change your husband's life by telling him you better get on your knees and pray about this. To her going to bowl 10 times and to figuring out what her big why was, because real estate and people are not. So people ask me all the time. I have a high I. When you diss me, it's like I and some D, and I was working on that. And I told the years how did my D come into play was prosthetic. I had to build up the D, right, and get rid of some of the I. I was always the life of the party. I still can be, but I had to change my thinking. Yeah, I had to change my thinking. Well, I always want to make people smile. I want people to feel good. That's just how I am. And so Marla came into real estate, and that first year it was kind of, she was getting in there and she was taking over the team. And then as she's gone through this and we were navigating out of the bad times and then looking at and she figured out, look, I'm going to hire this lady that's going to help me. And we hired someone from a team that lost their team member. He died suddenly in a heart attack, and he was a great agent with Keller Williams as well. So we hired Renee, and Renee has changed Marla and helped Marla. Marla's done very well. Our goal in November, we talk about that. We write our goals down. We every Sunday night we talk about our goals. And we had said this year she wanted to be number one. Well, it happened, and actually, and not in our office, but in the Southeast region. The reason that's important is we don't make money now we do fund our perfect lives. There's no doubt about it. I love the opportunities we get, but our goal is to give away money. And listen to this goal, and we got really a lot of work to do. But Marla's goal this year was to give away $100,000. Last year she did 60,000. Now through her foundation, and that's what I want to talk about, Mallory's Hope. Marla's founded a foundation called Mallory's Hope because we learn, we earn, and we return. And so my partner in crime created this foundation, and she does an event in September that brings Aubrey was a big supporter of that last year. He was so awesome. He bought a bunch of stuff, and it's a big supporter of it. But and all of you, it's just incredible watching what y'all do. But we do that event in September because childhood cancer awareness. So she created this foundation that is just thriving, and it's been awesome to watch her not only sell a lot of real estate and to make a difference in people's lives. Like we don't sell like I always tell agents, we don't sell real estate. We don't sell houses. We're selling dreams and hopes. And so now she's implemented her nonprofit called Mallory's Hope, and to help other parents and other kids who are good to a kid with special needs, because they are different. And my son's very popular. He gets people come in all the time. Mallory doesn't really get that. It's just different. She's more popular with you and Leslie than she is with the kids.
She's popular in my world. She's popular.
Yeah. Well, the kids at her age don't understand because she just beats to a different drum. But she's just she is popular. She's incredible. But Michael has people here all the time, and so but she doesn't have a mean spirit in her body. She just goes. So this is our legacy. So the legacy that is the foundation that Marla founded, and I get to serve on this board and just get a small bit of watching this thing go and watch her go. And it's the coolest thing to watch her big why. And so she wants to, and I always told you this, I know we're cutting expenses. I get it. I don't think America has an expense problem. I don't think we have that. We have an income problem. So the more money that we can make, the more we cure the expenses. So that's my logic. So I told Marla, we just make more money and we'll give it away. And so on my care calls, it is, what can I do for you and how can I help you? And I love sponsoring people to go to Bold. That's always Marla chimes in. Hey, I'll pay for you to go to Bold. I'm sure we're going to run the same thing. And we don't know what the future looks like. But that foundation, Mallory's Hope, is my, if you want to know the next thing, is to make sure that's funded and that we're having parents not to ever go through what we did. Well, we didn't really, Marla lived at the hospital. I'd love to have a house down next to the hospital someone can stay in. They still call us now periodically when a child has been diagnosed because these parents are getting hit with a baseball bat and they have no idea. We didn't. We were young. Me and Marla were like, I think we were 28. my age is, we were young. So we had, never even heard of this.
Yeah.
And marriage was very rare. And she was one of a few in the country. So we had the best doctors, and they're still our friends now. The best nurse, she's actually one of our very good friends who just wrapped her arms around us and became a friend. And, Andy, that's where I really want to tell the story is say what's next is being the best team leader and the role model for the people that I'm around, and to make sure my staff is functioning at the highest level. I mean, I got every one of my staff members is college educated and rock stars. They're just rock stars. And I get the privilege to whistle. Gary asked us in our last mastermind, he said, "Are you whistling to work? Because if you're not, I want you to leave this room." And I'm like, that might not be exactly what he said, but he does say that. He's like, if you don't love your team leader, get out of it. If you're not able to shift, and I'm not a tech guy, I'm just not, but I'm working on it and I'm becoming that guy. He goes, if you're not whistling to work every day, please do us all a favor. Go find your next opportunity. To me, it's whistling every morning. They laugh because I can't sing. That's something I can't do.
But you can whistle.
I can whistle, baby. Even with braces on my bottom, I can whistle. And I just love being a team leader. I love the opportunity. It's created a lot of opportunities for my family. It's let my son and my daughter see that dad gets to lead a group. It's opened their world. And that's the legacy I want to leave is for them. It's made my mom proud.
Yeah, it has. She's told me that too.
Yeah. That's, my dad was he was a blue collar working his tail off since he was 13 years old. I'm having the privilege. I'm sitting in a chair that my dad bought my grandmother when he was 13 years old. His furniture he bought when he was 13. So my dad went to work early and was a hard worker for Nabisco Brands. Some of y'all know that place. And then my mom was, I call her Champagne Dreams. She was, she didn't have a college education, just a hard working lady, and then went into real estate and killed it. They're my heroes. But my mom and we didn't have anything. We lived in apartments, didn't have a nickel. But my mom I always had the best TV, the best bicycle. You name it, I had it, man. I never went without. I lived in apartment life. It was the best thing because all my friends, I'm still friends with them now. We all lived together. We thought it was normal to go to the pool, and all my buddies were there. I didn't worry about like a neighborhood. So I've lived an incredible, incredible life. I really have. Super blessed, but I'm not done. So to ask me to be a team leader is what's the next for you? And everyone goes, opportunity. I'm like, dude, people are striving and want to be a team leader. Why would you not? Why would you not?
Yeah, they say that shifts actually create team leaders, not only in terms of you driving, a stronger identity and developing your leadership skills, but you see a lot of producers that actually long for that. To live a life of maybe a different kind of meaning. So, we are always on the lookout for leaders. We're constantly, we want to attract, welcome, and develop real estate leaders, right? That's the mission.
Yeah. And with that mission, Andy, is there is a lot of talent coming out there. So what does that mean for Mike Moulder? That means you better be on the ball and do your best every single day and give it everything you got. And I like that because if someone's not pushing me, I become the duck on the pond and I'm stagnant. And dude, I want to soar with the Eagles. That's why I left the AJC. So you ask what's next, man. I got people right in the corner that would love to have the opportunity of the blessing. It's a blessing to be a team leader. So I was like, man, I just call me Chipper Jones. He never left the Braves, man. He stayed there for his entire career. He left a legacy in baseball, but he's still mentoring and coming back to the Braves. That's what I want to do. I just want to get better, strive to be better every single day. I get up. A great mentor that I have, and I go and follow him. Every morning I get out of bed, I go, hello. Thank you, Lord, for giving me another day to get and do what I do and to impact others.
Love that. Well, I don't want us to get away without giving a plug for Mallory. So where would somebody go to learn more about your efforts there and perhaps give back if they so choose? Where would they go?
Wow. Well, that is awesome. I wasn't prepared for that one. But I do have a business card on me, and I will talk about that. Let me see if I have it on me now. I keep one with me, and I say I do. But if not,
you got a website and you've got a Facebook page, right?
Yep. We got a Facebook page, Mallory'sHope.com. I believe that's it. If not, I will have my beautiful bride Marla help get that out. Yeah, I probably lost that card. And I am wearing a shirt because I'm telling everybody, please, market yourself during these times. It's an opportunity. I think you have labs on today. I watch what you wear every day. I'm crazy like that. But I think it's important that, we have a Facebook page. We have I think it's a GoFundMe, and I should have been more well-versed on that. But I will have that shared actually on my Facebook page personally, how you can give to Mallory's Hope and where the proceeds go. That's my one thing. See, when I was in the hospital, we didn't have anybody to, and Celia Reese she learned about this. When her daughter was in the hospital, I took a roll of $10 worth of quarters. She goes, "Oh my God, how'd you know this is what I needed? I got vending machines." I go, "Darling, I've been there." So you can impact people by who go to the hospital, because quarters mean the world to somebody who's eating out of a vending machine every day.
Wow. Well, we love you. We appreciate you. You are Chad North.
Well, no, I just get a small role in it and get to play in the field with wonderful leaders. I just get to be a small role. I did want to finish with this. As you became the OP, and I worked for a wonderful man, Harry Hammond, and I cannot say, thankful to him for hiring me. I remember he wasn't going to hire me. I finally walked in the room and I was kind of upset. And I said, "Listen, dude, I'm your guy and you're going to hire me."
You just don't know it yet, right?
I said that to him. I said, "You're going to hire me." And he looked at me and he goes, "It's about time you said that. Yeah, you got the job." And I'm like, wow. And then I went and met with Kay Evans. He said, "If he didn't hire you, I'll hire you." I'm like, "Okay, I got this." But I remember asking you and Leslie to come and have lunch with me and Marla and just tell me your story. You were not my OP. I didn't even know who you were. Matter of fact, at Luke Bryan, y'all were sitting in a row behind me. And Marla goes, "That's Andy Peters. I just did a deal with him." I go, "Well, that's great. Who's Andy Peters?" And she goes, "Oh, they're pretty good. You need to look them up." So I looked y'all up, and then I dived in there and I asked you and Leslie to go to lunch. You knew then you were going to be my OP, and I had no idea. And
it took a little time. It took a little time to work out some details.
Yeah. So, I appreciate you being so transparent and giving to help Marla grow and help us grow. And it's been a fun ride. I've enjoyed. We just got started on the roller coaster. And, I appreciate you because I think you've learned me. You let me speak. Sometimes you let me just be me sometimes. And I love that. And even being able to give my story today is something that this is recorded that I'll be able to share with my kids, generation after generation, who was Mike Moulder and who is Mike Moulder. So for you and for your leadership and just helping me think differently, think bigger, we keep pushing ourselves into these other rooms. And there's a lot of things I thought I wanted that I look back and go, I don't want that. Right. I want to do this. So I just want to make sure that I touched on my mom and my dad and my beautiful bride and Marla, and thank them. They push me every day. And great mentors. I thank you for being a good mentor to me and helping me strive to give it my all and be the best I can be. And my final words were, please, everybody, the word "I can't" never lives in your vocabulary, because it doesn't live in my daughters, who would never, ever, ever, they said, walk, talk, or eat on their own and had a feeding tube for 2 years. Who doesn't have a feeding tube that sleeps with oxygen? And we just learned she might be able to. It's changing a little bit right now. They never thought the world. We always knew we'd be a party of 3. And she lives on her own and is rocking it. And so with that, I thank you and never use the word "I can't."
Yeah, man. Well, we appreciate you. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for being vulnerable. I think that's the sign of a good leader. Be vulnerable.
I'm privileged in this world just to be a little part of it. And so thank you.
Yeah, man. All right. Let's go do good things.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andy, for this opportunity. All right, buddy. See you, man.
Take care.